How about Miami? And that's kind of a poor way to intro it. Mario Cristobal getting that win over that Notre Dame team and that Notre Dame roster, signature win feels like a generous way to phrase it, but the longer I sit with it, I don't know what other way you would label that game. Because I said it during our top 10 segment. This feels like the Mario Cristobal team that you signed up for once you hired him over from Oregon. Like, yes, the talent's there. The talent's always going to be there for a Mario Cristobal team. They're going to recruit at a high level. They're going to go get their guys, whatever. Last year was awesome with Cam Ward. But what did that Miami team lack? To me, it felt like they lacked a certain degree of toughness. Not saying they weren't tough, but I think they lacked a degree of toughness. That wasn't last night. Because if Miami wasn't tough, or if Miami had shown up and had the same temperature of toughness they had a year ago, they would have got beat pretty handily by Notre Dame. Because that game last night, Miami was the team that applied the pressure to the Irish. Miami was the team that, quite frankly, did all the things that Notre Dame typically does to beat teams. Outrushed Notre Dame, had more sacks than Notre Dame, had less critical errors than Notre Dame. Like, the big thing with this, too, I mentioned all those things. Look at the guys that are making those plays. A lot of those guys are year 3 guys, like running the football. How many times did you watch a replay last night and watch big Francis Mawanoa, the offensive lineman for Miami, just move the pile, just create freaking movement on his side of the line? A year 3 guy, a guy that was recruited by Cristobal, been in the program now for 3 years, and makes his impact in one of the biggest games since Cristobal's gotten there. Ruben Bain, end of the game. Year 3 guy, same class as Mawanoa, makes a sack to put the game on ice over C.J. Carr. Psychopath behavior. All the pieces that Cristobal has put into place, the seeds that he planted, they're now starting to bloom. And I think that's what we need to make sure we make note of with this Miami team. Because there's less excitement with no Cam Ward and how awesome the offense was last year. I think this is just, quite frankly, a more multiple kind of Miami team. Like, I think they're going to have an opportunity now to win games that are played in the 30s and win games that last night take, a game played in the 20s to go win. Like, I think that Carson Beck was awesome, but only threw for 205 yards. Cam Ward, the closest output he ever had to 205 passing yards a year ago came in the bowl game, where he played a half and threw for 190, and they lost. If Carson Beck is throwing for 205 yards on last year's Miami team, they're getting boat raced, dude. They have shifted their way of winning football games. Not that they can't still go boat race people and score a lot of points. I think Malachi Tony gave you a lot to think about there as well. I think the receivers are going to be more than serviceable. But to be able to win a game where you got to win up front on the line of scrimmage, that to me is, there is no way to downplay how impactful that is and how impactful of a win that was last night for Miami over that Notre Dame roster. So we talk about talent, we talk about toughness, that's great. But there was a point last night where, Sunday night, where there's 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame gets the ball back off a punt, 21-14. I kind of just had this feeling in my stomach of, okay, this is the spot where a Notre Dame football team, what we know about their traits and their DNA and Marcus Freeman, this is where they go win the game. This is where they turn the tables, grit their way through, and find a way to get the win at the end of this thing. This is also kind of the spot we've seen Miami in previous years kind of give it away. Start hot, great, but like you kind of fumble it away, whether it be literally or metaphorically. Then in that moment, C.J. Carr throws the ball to the perimeter, gets tipped up in the air, off a foot. Ruben Bain makes the interception. And it felt like that was the moment where those other Miami teams wouldn't have made that play, wouldn't have had those traits. Sometimes the bounce of the ball favors the traits. And I'm not saying anything less of how Notre Dame is going to be this year. I'm just trying to speak to how impressive it was that Miami found a way to win that game on Sunday night over that outfit. Talent's one thing. The culture that showed itself to keep fighting, to keep their foot on the gas, and to find a way to get it done in the fourth quarter, that says a lot to me. So the question now for Miami is, okay, can you keep from being a one-hit wonder? Because it's great to get up for a game at home where you got a team that played for a national title last year coming to your place. Everyone's doubting you, doubting your quarterback. That's great. That's awesome. But, like, what about Friday night against Louisville? Can you get up for that game? Can you make sure you have the same level of intensity for that game than you had for this game? That's really what it comes down to, man. The other thought I have, though, if you're Miami, that should be exciting if you're a Hurricane fan or in that building. Okay, so you beat Notre Dame. Awesome. is there a tougher roster test? Is there a more talented football team you're going to play? Like, I think Florida's going to be really good. I think DJ Lagway is probably a better quarterback than CJ Carr is. But, like, you beat Notre Dame, a team that played for a national title last year. I think it's fair to say they are as talented as a Florida team. I mean, Florida State looked really strong. You got to go play them on the road. Are they more talented, a better roster top to bottom? Are they better coached than a Marcus Freeman Notre Dame team? I'd think not. And if you're trying to make the playoff, you just split those two games in Florida and Florida State. You're 11-1 in the playoff. If you handle business, that's the big part of this. Can you handle business and play to this level every single week? When you're at Pitt, last game of the season, and it's cold as heck, can you find a way to keep that same level of intensity? Can you be a pro about yourself? If you can, Miami's going to have a chance to be in the college football playoff. And if they get in there and those traits persist, maybe they make a run.